Welcome to a nourishing midweek lunch hour conversation with Spokane's newsmakers, thought leaders, and popular entertainers. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live.
Okay, so do you want the good news or the bad news first? The good news is that it's sunny and 90 degrees outside, but the bad news is that your summer, I'm sorry, but it's already almost 70% over. So if you haven't made it to the lake or gone to the pool and really enjoyed the summer months here in the Inland Northwest, you're going to want to do that because we actually don't have much longer once we get through August. So I'm joined by Michael Cathcart from Better Spokane right now in the Spokane Talk Studios. And so, Michael, kind of tell us what Better Spokane is and what their role is in the city as a whole.
Well, let me just say, I think or I hope that your prediction about a short summer is just fake news and not true at all. And we'll have nice, warm, sunny days through till December. That would be nice.
That would be.
So, Better Spokane, we are kind of the 50,000-foot view. We're a nonprofit and a bipartisan political action organization. Kind of our purpose is to empower the Inland Northwest to reach its full economic potential. And we want to do that through a myriad of ways. There are a number of business organizations in town that do a lot of great work. Before this job, I was government affairs director at the Spokane Home Builders. So I've been around some of these other organizations. And the biggest difference between us and them is other than them being membership-based organizations and us being more of a straight nonprofit, we are trying to fill that space that they can't fill, which is to go out to the public, educate the public, interact and engage with the public. So whether it's GSI or it's the Downtown Spokane Partnership or it's Home Builders or AGC, ABC, et cetera, all these organizations, they really lobby the city council or the county commission. They educate their members, they reach out to their members and engage with their members, but the public is kind of this empty void that gets missed. And so when you're not educating the public then doesn't have all the information to make better decisions when it comes time to vote, when it comes time to do anything on a civic level. So that's really where we're trying to come in and change some of the previous patterns that we've seen. We want to make sure the citizenry knows what the city council is doing. So we're working on an app. It's been taking a while, but it's in process. An app that will help folks to track votes and see exactly what's taking place. Because if you're an interested citizen right now, it's very difficult to actually see how they're voting. You can scroll through a database of votes. It doesn't really give you a lot of very good information. It's just, a long list of stuff, and it's hard to understand what you're actually looking at. So we want to fix that. We want to make sure folks understand exactly what's taking place by their elected officials. And then we also want to just pursue better solutions. And we want to reach out to the public and engage with them and educate them on why being more of a pro-business community is the right direction. It's better for them, better for their wallets, their jobs, their families, kids, etc.
Right, and so what are some of the things that you guys have recently been doing?
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, we're still kind of a startup organization. We've been around about a year and a half, so the focus has been very predominantly on trying to fundraise and organize. Like I said, we've got some of these tools that we're trying to put together. We're working on a voter guide, a pro-business voter guide that will come out in the fall after the primary. So we're just trying to come up with a lot of different tools that can be useful for the public at hand. And then, of course, we do have a political action side, so we're very involved in trying to find and encourage good leaders to seek office in the future and participate, with local elections. So.
And is that on both sides of the aisle?
Yeah, I mean, it's bipartisan, so we're just looking for folks that agree with us on being a pro-business community. So we don't care what your party is. Party really has no bearing on anything. It's just where do you stand on the issues that matter with regard to business?
Sure. So what are some of the things that the city has been doing?
Yeah.
I know you and I kind of talked about this before the show.
Sure.
Some of them sound a little courageous. So what's
Well, look,
going on?
I get really frustrated with the city for obvious reasons. Probably a lot of your viewers do as well. The problem is they come up with a lot of these grandiose ideas that really have no place being discussed or dealt with at the city level. They're state or they're federal issues, maybe even international issues. There's a resolution coming forward right now, which I think is kind of silly, that would declare Spokane a nuclear-free zone. So we're basically trying to tell the Defense Department where they can put their nukes. I just think it's silly. It's a resolution. It's not enforceable. We have no jurisdiction over what the Department of Defense does. So really, this is just sort of a grandstanding opportunity. But the other thing that these sorts of resolutions do, and it's not new, the council's been passing silly resolutions like this for years. The bigger issue that I see is that it really just divides the community. It's not a policy that actually is going to do anything. It's just a statement of belief. And you're going to find people on both sides, but really it just serves to divide. So you're either on our side or you're against us. You're one way or the other. And I just think that that's not the best thing that city or county government should be dealing with. Those are not the issues they should be touching on. So I think it's silly. I think it's a waste of time and a waste of energy, but that's the council that we have. So.
Well, and I honestly, people want to see resolutions and things like that done that are really going to benefit the city as a whole.
Yeah.
That matter.
Absolutely.
Really, you're right. And so if it doesn't have a direct effect on the city and its constituents, then what's the purpose of it? I think is what a lot of people ask.
It's I think at its most basic level, it's just red meat for the base, right? Politically speaking. So you've got a lot of supporters that seem to want this kind of concept. The media and the public is probably not even going to know about it or push back on it. So what's the harm in pushing it forward and gaining more support from, kind of a core wing of your constituency? That's, I think, how they see this. I think they just see it as an opportunity to score political points.
And, you mentioned another thing, too, something about a little more environmental friendly.
Well, so yeah, there's another measure coming forward, and this one is really interesting to me. So there's an organization at the national level called 350, and they've created a Spokane chapter, I think, over a year ago called 350 Spokane. They've got chapters in other cities too, and they are trying to push forward this concept of mandating that all of our electricity in the city of Spokane be sourced from 100% renewable sources by 2035. The council actually took it a step further, and they've drafted, or the draft that they've released says that we're going to meet this 100% requirement by 2030. This is very grandiose. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Again, it's something the city should not be dealing with, but there's a lot of questions around it. In their resolution, they talk about low impact hydroelectric being considered renewable. What exactly does that mean? The waste energy plant will count as renewable only if the material that's being burned is non-petroleum based, which I think most everything being burned in the waste energy plant is petroleum based today. So there'd be some pretty significant changes you'd have to see there. I've heard numbers thrown around that this could actually increase your electric rates by as much as 4 times because the technology just does not exist to get us to 100%. So the amount of investment or purchasing other electricity from elsewhere would be pretty significant. In 2006, the state passed an initiative, I-937, and I-937 said that by 2020, we had to meet 15% renewable sources of energy, right? And so we're approaching 2020. I think Vista's right on target for that. I think most of the utilities are on target. But that's been 14 years. To go now from essentially 2019 to 2030, 11 years, and we're going to go from 20% to 100% in just the city of Spokane.
Which is about...
So you can't leverage as much.
I mean, as we're really... 2018 aside, we've got really roughly, 10, 11 years to go from 20 to 100%.
Exactly right. So, and they also, in this, they include, or they state that nuclear would also not count as renewable. So it's just another example I think, partisan ideologies, maybe directing some policies that don't make a lot of sense. And then to enact this, they're creating this committee. They call it a sustainability committee. It's kind of a throwback to the green teams that Mayor Werner had under her administration. And they want to stack this committee with folks that are very one-sided. If you look at the requirements, they'll allow some business representatives, but no more than 2, and only if they've been involved in sustainability measures in their company. And so they really just want to make sure it's one side is represented, not the other. You don't get the whole picture. Again, doesn't make a lot of sense. And it just really is not something that should be a priority for the city at this point. The priority should be the basic services, make sure let's doing things right before we start taking on all this other extra stuff. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So.
And are there any other things going on at the city level now that
there's always stuff going on. And this is just something near and dear to my heart, coming from the home builders, but it's also really important for the future of Spokane, and that's growth. Housing, very specifically, we need more housing stock. We're definitely on short supply at this point. And so anything we can do to increase the housing supply, and that should mean changing regulations to allow more density inside the core of the city. It should mean that we are friendly to big developments that are going to take place that are, maybe they're on the edges of the city, but they're still close into the core. And I think a great example of this is the Beacon Hill development that would have seen potentially up to 3,000 new units built in that development, but the council said no to extending the water service lines that they needed to make that work. So I don't know where that development's going to go from here, but it's really unfortunate that we're going to miss out on all those new housing units, and right there near Hilliard too, to serve that Hilliard area, which could definitely use some pretty good growth.
Even if you look at Kendall Yards, I remember even, 5 years ago, if you went out there, it is completely changed.
Absolutely,
It is beautiful out there. People love going out there to shop and to eat, and there's lots of apartments and condominiums. And so really, I mean, as much as we may not like change, it really does benefit the city.
It does.
Later down the road.
Absolutely. And the other thing we need too, desperately, is more housing downtown. We've got the M coming online and some others, the Red Path, but we need to have a lot more housing down there, and it needs to be family-friendly housing. So we need housing downtown that will allow, 2-3 bedroom condos and apartments, so that families can live downtown, and that we can really see that population downtown grow, because we'll get a lot more services and amenities downtown that way if there's more people that can use them.
Right. All right, Michael, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you've heard also that Amazon is coming to
That's
Spokane.
right.
Airway Heights, actually, near the airport.
1,500 jobs.
1,500 jobs. That's big. That's really big. I don't know that it was a secret, though. I feel
Worst
like
kept secret in town.
Yeah, we all kind of guessed it, but now it's official. Amazon is on its way to Spokane. So, alrighty, we'll be right back on Spokane Talks Live with some very special ladies from Big Brother, Big Sister, Inland Northwest. We'll see you in a bit.
Two Washingtons, worlds apart, different values, different priorities. Taking on the DC machine isn't always easy, but I work for you, not them. Like when I forced federal bureaucrats to give Eastern Washington more control over our forests, stood up to the extremists to defend our dams, and fought to bring more doctors here by expanding the Spokane Teaching Health Center. I'm Kathy McMorris Rogers. Eastern Washington will always be home, and that's why I approve this message.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and a description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
The economy is getting stronger, banks are lending again, and interest rates are at historic lows. Now is a great time to buy your dream home. The caring and knowledgeable professionals at Homes for You have been helping people just like you for over 20 years. They take the time to listen to what you want and will help you find just the right home in Washington or Idaho. Real estate is what we do at Homes for You, 928-5782, or visit online at homes4uspokane.com.
I'm Mary Cuney, and when I became your county commissioner, I knew I wanted to protect our families, our tax dollars, and bring new jobs to Spokane. As a CPA, former Washington State Auditor, and Spokane County Chief Deputy Auditor, I will fix our budget while preserving our quality of life. We all want a county that is safe and prosperous for everyone. That's my goal, and I would appreciate your vote.
Vote to retain Mary Cuney as County Commissioner. Paid for by Friends of Mary Cuney, GOP.
You might think your vote doesn't count, but that's not true, especially here in Eastern Washington. I'm Jeff Holy, and I'm running for State Senate. We are so close to having a Senate that can stand up to West Side politicians who think no tax is ever too high and no regulation ever too hard on Eastern Washington's small businesses. Your vote matters. Mark your ballot, Jeff Holy for State Senate, and support Eastern Washington jobs, businesses, and opportunities.
Paid for by Jeff Holy for Senate.
Welcome back. I am joined with some pretty special ladies, Lorna, Walsh, and Becky Duffey from Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Inland Northwest. And this is a really special organization here locally. Kind of tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So Big Brothers Big Sisters is a professionally supported mentoring organization. We do one-on-one mentoring, matching a mentor with an at-risk youth here in our community. We've been active here in the Spokane area for over 50 years.
Wow.
And nationally, Big Brothers Big Sisters has been active for over 100 years. And what's really special about our program is that because of the length of time, we are always working to improve and look at best practices and make certain that our mentoring relationships really last and make a real difference in the lives of these kids. So what we're doing is we're empowering the potential of kids, and we do it really well. It's really cool.
And in our size of a community, I think you're really able to do so. While Spokane is considered a big city, we have that small town feel, I think. And so I like that, the lasting relationships. But these mentors, where do these mentors come from?
Well, pretty much everywhere. And that kind of segues into something that I really want to tell the community, which is right now we really, really have a big need for more mentors. We've expanded, we've added a new program, which is called Mentor You, which is actually focused on high school students. And the idea is helping them prepare and be ready to move on to college and career. And that's, again, a one-on-one professionally supported, but it operates a little bit differently because the volunteers work with the students during the week. They work back and forth via email. They email each other. The students take a class and they have different topics that they're talking through, and then they discuss those with their mentors. And then once a month they get together with their mentors. So it's not quite as intensive a time commitment, but it's also equally important. And currently we've just got a huge waiting list, especially big need for male mentors. We have 58 children on our waiting list right now, 13 girls and 45 boys.
And what are the age qualifications for being a mentor?
You need to be 18 and have a valid driver's license because you do go pick up your little. We call them littles. We call them bigs and littles. So as a mentor, you're a big, and then as a mentee, you're a little. And they need to be able to go and pick them up at home. So you need to have a valid driver's license. We ask for a commitment, minimum commitment of 18 months because the research shows it takes at least a year before it becomes the kind of relationship that actually is a real mentoring relationship and not just forced fun. And that's obviously what we want to see happen. We want our kids to go on and be successful, and they do. We have an over 90% graduation rate for these at-risk kids. And then they go on to higher education and internships and
what makes these high-risk children fall within your program?
Well, they can be referred by anybody. Most of the kids we work with are from low-income families, very often, not always, but very often single-family homes. They might have an incarcerated parent. They might be in the foster care system. They might have a deployed parent. We work with some of the military families when the dads or moms are deployed overseas to kind of be that extra person there in their lives.
Right. This is just really meaningful. And I think important as a community that we recognize how important this is for our youth, the future generation, our future leaders here in Spokane. And I know that you guys also do fundraising and have events throughout the year. But what are some events that are coming up soon? I know you want to talk about the fun run that's coming up.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to Becky. We do the two things that nonprofits need most in the world are volunteers and money. And in order to raise money, we obviously we work on corporate sponsorships and also on individual giving. But one of the other ways that we do that is through events. And Becky's going to tell you about one of the real cool ones we got coming up.
Cool.
So we have a fun run coming up August 11th at Grant Park at 9 a.m. and it's a 5K family-friendly event, and it'll be tons of fun. There's going to be water obstacles, sprinklers,
very cool.
Chance to get wet in the hot weather.
Yes.
It's only $25 to register, and we will have also water guns and a army crawl and tires and all kinds of fun things for the family to do. And it all raises money that stays here in the Inland Northwest to support our mentorship programs. And we can't run our programs without doing our fundraising, so they kind of go hand in hand.
Right.
And especially to get the word out to those, to get more volunteers for the people that are on our wait list too. Yeah.
Yeah, we find that events are both fundraisers and fundraisers. Once people come and participate in an event like the Fun Run, and quite often our bigs and our littles are there as well, they get to kind of see what it is that we're all about, and so it's
really
a
neat
dual benefit.
Right, and it goes to a great cause. So can you say the date for that Fun Run again?
So it's August 11th, which is a Saturday in Grant Park in the Perry District. And we're involving the local community too, so there'll be some giveaways and fun things to do afterwards in that small area. So it's it'll be a lot of fun.
So and one quick thing, want to make certain that we mention Washington Trust Bank, which obviously is local, is our major sponsor for this event. We're calling them our Superman sponsor, and really huge shout out to them because they're providing a pretty substantial donation to the organization, which is fantastic. They're also helping us promote the event, and they're going to have a number of their volunteers there as well. So it's local business helping a local nonprofit to help local kids, and all those ties I think are really, really important.
It is.
And to register, tickets are on northwesttickets.com.
Northwesttickets.com.
And just you can type in Kapow and you'll find the event, and it's pretty easy registration process.
Very cool. Anything else going on with your guys' organization?
Well, then we do kind of one event right after the other. So then coming up in October, we're going to have our Roaring 20s Gala. And that is a gala auction, kind of elegant event fundraiser. And actually, that's going to be right here, pretty much across the street from your studios at Riverside Place.
Yes, yep.
And you can also go to Northwest Tickets to register for that event. And sign up to be there. And you can dress in Roaring 20s gear. We're going to have some dancing demonstrations of dances from that period. Absolutely fabulous menu that's going to be catered by London's Catering and other local folks here. And it should just be a really, really fun event. We're getting all kinds of great raffle and auction donations for that as well.
That's really exciting. Well, I hope it goes well. And do you guys have a website that people can visit?
Yes, we do. Although I will put out one more plug. If there's anybody out there that wants to fund an update to our website, we really need that desperately. So yeah, it is nwbigs.org. But our website is it's a little shaky right now. So don't think that everything on there is totally current. Feel free to call us.
So if you're a website designer, give them a call.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We need some help in that area, and it's It's a hard thing to get people excited about, but it's really critical to everything that we do.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us. I'm excited for the fun run. I'm really bummed that I'm going to be actually headed off to college before the fun run, so I'll have to make sure my family knows about it.
Okay, where are you going to college?
TCU, Texas Christian University.
All the way up to Texas.
Yes, in Texas. So it'll be very exciting. So I wish you guys the best. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us and letting us tell our story.
Yes. And we'll see you tomorrow on Spokane Talks Live with a very special guest that you might have seen on the Today Show just a couple weeks ago. We'll see you later.
Spokane Talks Live is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Online LLC, which is solely responsible for its content. To recommend a guest or topic, or to see this program again, please visit our website, SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Join us next Wednesday, noon, for another nourishing conversation on Spokane Talks Live.